What's up, everybody? Welcome to System Crafters. I'm David Wilson, and today we're back with another Friday live stream in the System Crafters live series. I'm getting trouble from Joshal already for being 1 minute late, so that's great. All right, so let's see. Let's say hello to the people we see so far. Since I'm using Restream, I don't get to see the messages that came before the stream started, so unfortunately if anybody said hello before, you'll have to say hello again because I didn't get to see it before. It says I have 17 people here. I think there's probably more than that, but let me see here. Whoops. This interface doesn't give me like live stream analytics, which is a little bit annoying. I'm gonna have to deal with or figure out the issues of this thing before I use it more. But anyway, hello to, whoa, here we go. There's a lot of messages that showed up all of a sudden. To Drushal, to Subodh, Thomas, Garjola, Khalid, Gan, GK Sudo, Glenn, Martin, Yosef, Edis, Andrew. If I missed anybody there. Daigo, Retracing. Yes, hello again. Yeah, we have to get all these issues dialed in with the Restream setup. Let me see if I can get it to give me the information. Okay, I can see the video here. I don't need to see that. It says YouTube is offline, which doesn't make any sense because I think I see people from YouTube sending messages right now. Hi, Samuel and Marco. All right, we're going to stop screwing with that. Hey, Bo. It says I'm offline. Events. All right, so anyway. The point of today's stream is to try to see if we can fix a bug in Emacs. And I know this is kind of an ambitious idea for a 2-hour stream, but I wanted to just give it a shot and see how far we can get if we can actually try to fix something. Martin says, how are you streaming on Twitch? I'm using a service called restream.io, which allows you to stream from my computer to Restream, and then they will stream that for me to YouTube, Twitch, and other platforms all at the same time. So it's a pretty cool service, but I still have not mastered their UI yet to figure out where I can see my live analytics and whatnot, see how many people are actually watching at the moment, because I think the number it shows me is wrong. Hey, Tomas. But anyway, before we jump into the main topic of the stream today, I wanted to mention a couple of things. One of them is that this week I did not manage to get the org Rome video out that I intended to, and it's mainly because I was having sort of a crisis of direction, not with the video itself, but with basically some changes I'm trying to make to how I structure videos, and I didn't really get clarity on how I wanted to approach the next video until like the middle of the week, and it was already too late to post a new video by that point. So at this point, we're definitely going to get it on, I think Tuesday. Tuesday seems to be the best day to post videos, so I'll post it on Tuesday after I record it this weekend. But this one's going to be about how you can keep a journal in Emacs with org Rome. Which basically gets us into the dailies feature like I had talked about before, which is a great feature and I use it all the time. So definitely keep a lookout for that. And also, I wanted to remind everyone again, and I'll be reminding you again until September 30th, which is apparently the deadline, to submit a proposal for Emacs Conf 2021. It's a very friendly and welcoming conference as far as levels of experience is concerned. So if you have any interest at all in doing a presentation on anything Emacs related, even if it's just a 5-minute demonstration of a package that you like or something that you wrote, definitely submit a proposal to that. And I don't think they're going to send any responses back until the call for presentations is closed. So if you don't hear back anything, don't be alarmed. Don't worry. You know, they're still reviewing applications or proposals. So definitely give it a shot if you want to try to participate in that. I recommend you do it because I think it'll be a lot of fun. And I watched some of the recordings from last year, and there was all kinds of really interesting topics. So even if you don't try to submit a proposal, definitely watch it. I think it's going to be pretty cool. I've sent a proposal. We'll see if mine gets accepted, and you can see me there if I do end up giving a talk there. Garjola says, I've been refreshing the YouTube channel the whole week waiting for the org Rome video. I'm sure you did. I'm being sarcastic because Garjola is being sarcastic. All right. So, can we fix a bug in Emacs? Well, we're going to find out. the reason why I decided to do this, well, the first reason why I decided to do this is because Garjola made a good suggestion for this topic or this this plan in the System Crafter's IRC yesterday. Hey, Aaron. And it sounded like a good idea. This sort of, the idea is sort of inspired by Fosker's blog post contributing to Emacs. Foskers is also a member of the System Crafters community, hangs out on IRC and Discord sometimes. And this is a really good post that he posted to his personal blog and also made a Reddit post about it, I think a few days ago. But basically documenting his experience in contributing to Emacs and basically, you know, how he approached that and the things he had to do to finally get something merged as an improvement to Emacs. So if you're interested at all in contributing to Emacs, definitely take a look at his blog post. I've got a link to it in the show notes there. In fact, let me just drop it into the into the chat as well. But it is the excuse me. It's very sort of encouraging, I think, to people who haven't contributed to Emacs before, because it shows that, you know, even if you hadn't really thought you might contribute to Emacs, you can do it if you want to. But definitely keep in mind that if you want to contribute something that's more than 15 lines of code, you'll have to sign the copyright assignment form for the Free Software Foundation, which is something that I can't easily do. So any fix that I do today is going to have to be less than 15 lines so that it goes under that threshold. So an added wrinkle for the effort we do today is we'll have to find something that's less than 15 lines for me to be able to contribute. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Also, if you're interested in this topic of whether it's, you know, easy or hard to contribute to Emacs, check out the Reddit thread about Colin's post, because there's a lot of spirited discussion about the topic there. Some of it's interesting if you want to take a look at that. So I've got a link to that also in the show notes if you want to see that. And related to fixing bugs in Emacs in general, Lars Ingebrigtsen, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, as always, is one of the main drivers of fixing bugs in Emacs right now. If you look, there's a lot of, you know, patches from Lars being going into Emacs in the last, you know, I don't know how long, but it's been a while. But he also writes posts on his blog talking about the efforts to burn down the Emacs bug backlog, if it loads up. Come on now. And that's a lot of really good information about, you know, the trends for contributions to Emacs. So check those out. Definitely take a look at his blog if you wanted to see more about some information and some charts about bugs being closed in Emacs. It seems like there's a lot of activity for people making contributions to Emacs to fix bugs and add improvements. So I think it's a really great thing to sort of track what is going on in Emacs, because, you know, it is encouraging for people to see that there are improvements going and that Emacs is very much alive, and there's a lot of people that are trying to contribute to it. I mean, if you pay any attention to the Emacs Devel mailing list or the bug mailing list, there's conversations happening all the time around the clock. So definitely, yeah. Garjola is once again telling me that someone's name is pronounced Zettelkasten. Okay, want to become famous? Buy followers, primes, and viewers on... I'm not going to say the name of the site because I don't want to give them any kind of... There we go. Boom. Bye-bye. I don't want to give any advertisement to whomever that is, but yeah, let's not pay for more followers, please. And Garjola says, I am the chief harassment officer. Well, obviously it worked. So let's see. Let's jump down to the next slide here. All right, so before you can contribute to Emacs, you have to build Emacs, or at least you have to be able to make changes to Emacs and test them. And I've already done that because you don't want to see me like actually going through the process of building Emacs because it takes a little while. Maybe, you know, it doesn't take that long to build, but it's long enough that I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me build it. And it also might kill the stream if I build the whole thing from scratch. Don't really know. But if you're on Debian or Ubuntu, it's really easy to set up all the necessary dependency packages you need to actually build Emacs. If you just, you know, install Git and the build essential package, which is like a meta package of all the compilers and tools that are necessary, and also automake, I think is important. Hey, Simon. And then also there's this apt build dep command that you can basically say, give me all of the build dependencies for a package. And in this case, we're telling it to get the build dependencies for Emacs. That will give you the ability to install everything you need to compile Emacs very easily on Debian or Ubuntu. For me, I have prepared a Debian VM if I need to use it, but with Geeks, it's also pretty easy. Let's see, actually, I can just write it down here in Geeks. You can just use the Geeks environment command. Geeks environment, I used pure, and then Emacs, or even Emacs next, because that's for Emacs 28. So if you do that, it will give you a pure environment for compiling Emacs. And I might have to set that up again in just a second. Probably also good to include Git with that, or actually make that ad hoc. But yeah, we'll see if that works whenever I try it in a minute. Garjola says that Lars also has posts with detailed instructions to build Emacs on many OSs. But that would be very helpful because the hardest part about compiling Emacs is actually knowing which dependencies to install, because there's lots of libraries that Emacs depends on, especially for things like image libraries or user interface libraries and things like that. So yeah, definitely sounds like Lars' blog is a good place to go to find that stuff. Let me actually jump there and see if I can find an entry point for that really quickly, because that would be helpful. And also, yeah, the process for cloning and building Emacs is very simple. You can just clone the repository and then run the autogen script, which generates some initial build files that are related to your system, and then run configure, which then generates all the make files and everything that's needed for the compilation process. And then you just run make. So if you do that, you will have a fully built Emacs binary on your system that you can then experiment with fixes that you're trying to make to Emacs itself. So why are we building Emacs? We're building Emacs because we're trying to fix a bug in Emacs today. And Maguro says, what's the advantage of compiling my own Emacs versus downloading the binaries? Well, one advantage is that the binaries that you download are probably from Emacs or whatever the most stable release is. So if you want to use the latest features of Emacs that are in development, you have to clone the Git repository and build it yourself. And also you have more control over what the compiler flags are, because there's lots of different options for compiling Emacs with different features. One of them being native compilation, which is not turned on by default in the latest Emacs 28 builds. So if you wanted to have a more custom build of Emacs, you could definitely do that by compiling it yourself. Gon asks, what about all the configure options? There is a file that says some of those things, I think. Was it hacking or install? So I don't know if they say all of them here. There's in this install document, there's a lot of different things that it explains that you can say like with or without features. So you could definitely check that out to see what kinds of things you might want to use in your compilation. In the contribute, yeah, I think they don't really mention flags in the contribute document. So I think the install document is your best bet. And also the news document may tell you some things. I think, where is it? Etc. news. You may find some things in here as well. So like with Cairo, with native compilation, etc. So you could definitely take a look at the news document to see if there's any new config flags being added for the latest versions of Emacs, like 28.1, etc. So Garjola says configure/help. Let's actually take a look at that. So jump down here, /configure. I cannot type this morning. --help. Okay, yeah, that's great. Even better. Now you can see all of them. So one of them you probably want to have is with JSON. I don't know if that's by default, but if you're using LSP mode, you definitely want to have with JSON turned on. Or if you're using any language servers that need to do JSON parsing, which they all do basically. So anyway, let's jump back to the slides. So I've already built Emacs locally. I didn't want to make you watch me do that. So did I kill eShell? Brilliant. Okay. So let me just jump in here. In fact, maybe what I want to do is go into vterm so I can do Geeks environment, pure Emacs next, ad hoc git, just in case. This should take just a second. And actually, no, what I want to do is, this is something you probably wouldn't do yourself unless you have the Flat Watson channel installed. So Emacs native comp. This should work. Aaron says the pre-built binaries tend to not take advantage of all features that are available in the current CPU. Yeah. I mean, building it yourself, GCC can pick compiler optimizations that might be useful for you. So it could be useful to compile it yourself if you wanted to. And if nothing else, you could just use it to track the latest developments of Emacs in case there is something that you do want to contribute on. The best way to find things to add or fix in Emacs is to use the latest builds of Emacs and try to see during your day-to-day workflow if anything comes up that seems like it's broken. Like maybe you find a regression in some feature. Somebody made a change somewhere and it broke something that you use on a daily basis. Then you could go try to figure out what happened and then submit a patch to fix it. Gon says configure -- with Borg assimilates all options. Yeah, that I don't know if you want all options because some of them might be conflicting. Let's see. All right, hopefully this will finish in just 1 second. I needed to set this up so that I had the necessary tools in my environment for building. Stalion says, sorry for the dumb question. Definitely not a dumb question. What does a Geeks environment command do? So this is only something for people who are using Geeks. If you're trying to build Emacs, you don't need Geeks. You just install the dependencies necessary for building Emacs on your system. But what Geeks environment does is it sets up a special shell that has all of the tools and libraries needed for building a particular package, or maybe it installs everything needed to use a particular package so that you can test it out without actually installing all those things in your normal profiles or in your system configuration. So it's basically like setting up a temporary environment for building a particular program. Etta says, you know who wouldn't use with Borg? Captain Picard. Well, you might be wrong about that. I don't know. I've seen pictures. All right, so if I just run, let's just run it again. I'm just gonna run configure. It won't take long because I think it's already done everything. So yeah, it's sort of like building it in a Docker container because you can isolate the build from your own local environment so that you get a clean build basically, and you know that it would be reproducible. Jorge says, I recently installed Emacs on my Chromebook, which entailed compiling it from source. When I went to configure lfeed, I realized I didn't have libxml2, which is needed for parsing XML feeds. But were you able to install that and then rebuild Emacs to use it? Because that's really the important thing, I think. All right, hopefully this doesn't take too long. It's definitely making my my video freeze a little bit, so we'll see. If it causes too much trouble, I'll just cancel it out. But I'm only doing this just as a demonstration to do it. Or how to do it, but you don't really need to do that. And as you saw, I did not add any parameters there. In fact, I probably should have. I think it might pick up GTK by default because when I built it before, I don't think I used any particular parameters. But I could be wrong about that. We're going to find out in just a second. Well, actually, I don't want to make this again. Let me cancel that. I'm going to check and see if I still have configure. Okay, apparently I had done that before. Disable build details. So this is what let me put that back where it was so we don't end up with trouble. Gon says you should use a volume to preserve unobsoleted object files. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, let me just let that go because I don't want it to screw anything up. So what the command that I used, the configure command that I used for my own build yesterday was this one. And I did do it with native compilation apparently, which I did not think I did, but whatever. We'll get to the meat of this in just a second. All right, there we go. Fail to compile. Let's take native comp out. I don't want to deal with that. We'll just use these things. This should finish again pretty fast, I think. All right. So, after you build Emacs, oh yeah, so this is out of date. So I tried to look at the bug tracker for Emacs a little bit in advance to see if there was anything there that seemed interesting to try to fix. And there is a good page that you can go to for that. It's on debbugs.gnu.org. If you open up that site, it will give you the listing of all the current bugs that have been reported for Emacs and even ones that are sort of having fixes in progress. So This is a place that you can go to find things you might want to fix or might want to try to fix if you're interested in trying to contribute to Emacs. There's various sections here for things like outstanding bugs, which, you know, that means that they're really, really good bugs. No, I'm just kidding. It means that they're still not fixed yet. Normal bugs with patch available. So typically these are things that are already being worked on by someone. And if you look at the thread, typically there's a patch file that's been attached. There's normal bugs that have been confirmed, like this one, which basically says that the bug had someone else was able to reproduce the issue. So they tried to see if they could reproduce the same problem, and they could. So it's been confirmed now. There's also unclassified bugs, which haven't really been triaged yet. They haven't been confirmed, or they're not really sure that they have information they need yet. There's also more information needed bugs, which are things that maybe you could help the person if you wanted to. You could basically go in the thread and see if you could find any more information related to the bug. But typically these are people who are reporting strange issues that are hard to reproduce. And then there's a section for minor bugs, which are maybe not as important, but still things that should get fixed. And then wish list items. I think they're probably like feature requests. And then there's resolved bugs. If you want to see which bugs have been getting fixed recently, you can take a look at this list as well. And there's a lot of filter options here to find particular bugs. So for instance, you might want to set what the include bugs are. And we could say bugs that are tagged. They give you some tag suggestions here. So something you could look for is like confirmed and maybe even easy. So if you want to find some easy bugs to fix, we can go with confirmed and easy. Let's see if we can search for that right now. I'm going to put in confirmed, comma, easy. I'm not sure if that's the right syntax. I'm going to hit submit on this page. And I think it takes a little bit of time for it to refresh finally. But we'll see that happen in just a second, I think. Yeah, okay, so refresh now. Let me check my configure run here. Okay, that finished, great. Gon says, I mean when using Docker builds. Yeah, definitely you would want to use a volume for that for sure. Okay, so we have normal bugs confirmed, and these are all marked as easy, or at least they should be. Let me double check. I'm just gonna go to one of these and see. Do I see it being marked as easy? No, I don't see it marked as easy. It's only marked as confirmed. So I wonder if there's like some syntax we have to say you want confirmed and easy. Let's see. I don't know if that works. We're gonna find out. And while that's doing its job, deb bugs search syntax. All right, so that didn't do anything. If anybody knows, let me know in the chat. Deb bugs, or Debian tracking system. Yeah, this is apparently written for Debian back in the day. So let's see. I'm not gonna bother too much. Oh, wait a second, hold on. It says if more selections can be added after the first search. If a later selection is on the same search field, the results are ORed. If it's on a different field, the results are ANDed. Okay, so basically it's ORed by default. That's fine. So how about this? We're just gonna search for easy and we're gonna look at the confirmed section. So there's a small number of bugs here. And let's see, unclassified. So there's a couple bugs here that might be fairly easy to fix. And full disclosure, I cheated a little bit here and I actually sent an email to Lars this morning to ask if there were any easy bugs that I could try to fix on the stream today, because we obviously have limited time to try to fix something. And he very helpfully gave me a list of bugs. But the most important thing was that he pointed me to the easy tag, which now I know about. And if I had known that, I would have found these, which are basically the ones that he suggested. The one that I think looks interesting and that he also suggested was this one for, it says unable to visit Git revision in compact style VC log buffer. So this is in the VC source control interface functionality that's built into Emacs. So like there's Magit, which is like a full interface for Git that's built in, or not built in, it's a third-party package. There is built-in functionality for this in Emacs that a lot of people don't really know about. And this is a bug that is a part of this interface, or at least the APIs for the interface, I think. So we might give this one a shot and see if we can make any progress on it. Let's see here. Stellian says maybe just confirm space easy. Yeah, I did that, and I think it just ORs the terms together. Mary says, I'm not sure if anyone talked about this yet, but it's worth noting that you need your company to sign a release before contributing to Emacs. Yeah, that's what I implied earlier. If you want to contribute non-trivial changes to Emacs, you have to do a copyright assignment to the Free Software Foundation. And if you work for a company that has you under a intellectual property agreement of any sort, then you're going to have to get their permission, basically, to their written permission to contribute to Emacs. And that ends up being an obstacle for a lot of people because the legal departments of companies are often reluctant to sign these types of agreements. So trying to put that in the most diplomatic way possible. All right. Magura says some Red Bull to stay ready to fix a PR. Yeah, you need something to keep the brain overly stimulated. Hey, Marduk. All right, so let's take a closer look at this bug report. I'll zoom in a little bit on this, make sure that it's readable. All right, the filer Carlos says, I created a test Git repo, added a file, made it a few changes, committed a few revisions. Now I open the compact log buffer for the file, and when I try to visit a revision, I get, for instance, cannot open load file, no such file or directory, VC nil. So I guess the best way to start is to try to see if we can reproduce this. And I think we should just be able to do it in an existing repo. That we shouldn't have to create any new repository. So CXV capital L. So what I'm going to do is start up the Emacs we've built here. So once you build Emacs with make, probably it won't. Oh, is it going to do some more stuff here? That's going to be really nice if it has to do that. Anyway, we've already built it. We're going to try to do this. All right, okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run make, and while that's going, hopefully it doesn't chew up all my CPU, I'll go back to eShell so I can run Emacs. So the build version of Emacs after you've run make inside of your clone repository folder is in the source directory /Emacs. So if you run that, you will actually get an Emacs session from the build that you just made. So this is actually something with a configuration that I've already set up that is from the build that I did on my own computer. Hey, Minas. So let's see. Michael says, what happened to the scheduled org room video on Tuesday? I did not finish that video this week, but it will come out on this upcoming Tuesday. Sorry about that. Okay, so what we want to do is try to reproduce this issue. So when I open the compact log buffer for the file, so let's go to a file and let's see. You should run Emacs-Q. Maybe. You might be right about that. We'll see. Let's check Emacs load path. So to reproduce a bug, yeah, maybe. Load path. Let's just see if anything is polluting the load path. Just a lot of stuff from the straight folder. I'm trying to see if there's anything. Oh, there's some stuff from Magit. So what I need to do is try to clear out that Emacs load path before I run this, I think. All right, let me get out of that. See if this make is finished. No, of course not. All right, so I'll do another vterm in this folder. So I'm going to echo Emacs load path. It's got stuff in it. Let's just delete. I think that's the right way to do that, right? Emacs load path. No, it's a del. If you remember the way to clear an environment variable, let me know. I'll clear it out. Let's just say export Emacs load path equals empty string. Okay, so now we will load Emacs again from the built folder source Emacs. Just want to make sure that we're not pulling in anything. Yeah, I know -Q, but I don't want to use that because then we're going to be back to white screen Emacs with a small font, and I don't want to do that right now. Oh, unset. Thanks, Garjola. Okay, so let's check out load path one more time, just to make sure. Hey, MiniKN. All right, so now we're only picking up things that are from our own build, which is great. And we can actually see that we're picking up the built-in Emacs Lisp code from the project/code/Emacs folder, which is great because that means we can edit those files. Okay, so now we want to open up a file from the, let's just open up this bugs file. And we're going to use Control-X V capital L, Control-X V capital L. And it brings up VC change log. It's doing something here. I think it's probably, oh, since this repo is big, I wonder if it's chewing on that. I might need to pick a smaller repo. Okay, yeah, there we go. I've never actually seen this log before, but it's pretty nice actually. So let me go to a different folder. How about Emacs from scratch? That should be better. So if I do Control-X, V capital L, all right, cool. So now we get this log of commits, and I think it should be, oh, let me jump to a file. I think that was the thing that they said. We'll jump to this emacs.org file and do the same thing again. Thanks for dropping by, Milner. Let's see. Why did it not open this up? Okay, we'll just do this the old-fashioned way. Okay. So now I'm going to run Control-X VL one more time. And then I don't seem to get this error. Now I open the compact log buffer for the file, and when I try to visit a revision, oh, okay, so you have to press F, boom. Multiple files shown in this buffer cannot use this command here. Why? So what, do I need to go forward or something and then press F? What does that even mean? So what is that? What command is this bound to? So Control-HK, Control-X V capital L, VC print root log. And Robert says Manjaro is known to break packages. Well, hopefully that's not the case here, but we're about to find out, I guess. So checking out temp repo. That's kind of weird that it does this. Commit a few revisions. Now I open the compact log buffer for the file, and when I try to visit a revision, I get, for the normal log buffer, the above works as documented. For the compact log buffer, is still able to show revision diff. So how about if I try that? If I jump down into here and say, what was it? D? Okay, so that works. But Q doesn't make it go away. Okay, there we went. C bullet 2. Compact log, yeah. So I tried that. That's fine. But if I use F, no. Come on, dude. All right. So it still gives me this weird error, which I'm not really sure what it means. Multiple files shown in this buffer cannot use this command here. What is, okay, F is bound to log view find revision. Log view find revision. So visit the version at point. Okay, that doesn't help. So we'll try another thing as well. How about, I'll close that, and then we'll try this other command, Control-X V lowercase l, Control-X V lowercase l. Gives us all of the individual commit information. Does the F command work here? Okay, so that worked. It's kind of interesting. So there is a bug here. Something's wrong. Because if you go into this list, for any revision, if you use F, then it brings you to the version of this file at that revision. You can see based on the file name here. But if you go to the log listing, it doesn't actually do that as you would expect. So if I use Control-X V capital L, then it gives me the wrong error. So if I just try to put a cursor on this line and then press F, multiple files shown in this buffer cannot use this command here. So something's wrong. We may be able to find out what's going on here. So log view find revision. We're going to pull that back up again. Log view find revision. So I'm pulling up the documentation for this function so I could jump to the actual source file, log view find revision. So what I want to do is see where it's throwing this error. So we see now that there's user error, multiple files shown in this buffer, cannot use this command here. So how does it figure that out? So unless log view for per file logs, what does this variable do? Set the T if logs are shown one file at a time. Okay, so that's set the T here. I'm not sure what the buffer local value would be, but we can check that later. And length log view VC file set if it's more than one, or if it's null, or if it's a directory. So what we need to do is check what this log view VC file set is inside of that view. Let's jump back to emacs.org, Control X, V capital L. And in this buffer, we're gonna look at, come on, man. I keep hitting escape, and that is a big no-no with this configuration, apparently. All right, so this file here, we're gonna look at what variable we need to check. Log view VC file set, Control HV, log view VC file set. All right, so in this buffer is this directory path, which I think is wrong. So it seems that it should be picking up the actual file name and not the directory. So that could be the starting point. The other thing we should check is the other command that could be used. So if we use Control X V lowercase l, actually no, let's get the command for that. So we're gonna do Control HK, then Control X V lowercase l. That is VC print log. So we can try to figure out what the difference is in this function, how it picks up the current file. Current prefix arg, let's see. Deduce file set T. Fix me, YT. So maybe use the command with the file opened in buffer. Well, I did that. Let's see. Deduce file set. Let's check out what that means. Deduce a set of files and backend to which to apply an operation. All right, so we'll just leave that alone for now. VC print log internal backend file. So it does pull the file set. So the other function we were looking at was log view. Where does this come from? Okay, so it is part of the VC package, it seems. Log view, okay. And log view find revision. Visit the version at POS. I've called interactively visit the version at point. Is that the right one? Or am I looking at something wrong here? So let me go back here. Control HK, Control X, V capital L. VC print root log, okay. Oh, wait a second. So, not sure. Limit the revision history for the current VC controlled tree in the window. So that actually sounds like it's supposed to do it only for the actual entire repo. When called interactively with a prefix argument prompt for limit. Yeah, I don't know if this is actually supposed to pull from the current folder. Default directory, deduce backend, responsible backend. Yeah, I think this is probably not even supposed to work. So if I create a test-git repo, open the compact log buffer for the file. So maybe there's another command that actually is supposed to work for this. Do I have a which key set up here? Nope. Let's look at that for... Gon says a commit points to a tree and not a file. Yeah, I think the problem here is that maybe there was a command that used to load the history for a specific file, and then you were supposed to be able to navigate to the revision for that file. But I think this command that the user is using is the wrong command for that. So I'm going to use Control XV in my own config and see if I can track what the, let's see, VC print log, capital L is VC print root log. So it's interesting that print log shows a different output than the root log. Check below in the bug report. Maybe there's more info. Great suggestion. So let me just jump back to the Emacs session that I had here. So VC, no, well, yeah, let's not do it in that file. Let's go back to the emacs.org. So VC print log, root log, branch log. Yeah, so I would expect this to also have the ability to do a compact or one-line listing like the root log does. So let's go and look at the responses here to the bug. Yeah, probably should have read this. Invoking F from the log shown by that makes no sense. One cannot visit the version except in the context of a specific file or set of files. Is about a file's about the whole tree. Yes, indeed. Looks like this command never worked for these two varieties of log buffers. My suggestion is to bind F in these two kinds of listings to a different command, which was asked. Okay, I think that's what Lars had told me in the email. Is basically when you press F, it should give you a listing of the files inside of the repository, so that you can pick which file you want to see the revision for. Now I'm getting spam calls on my phone. That's great. Okay, so what we might do here is bind F to something else. So what's the map in this? So if we go back to the VC print root log function, then let's see, describe bindings, or no, describe mode. How about that? So log view mode. This is the git log view, and we have a few different maps. Okay, it's got a bunch of stuff in there. Log view file, no. Log view file previous next. Inspect the commit and its tree and peek at the files linked to the tree. Yeah, I would think that there should be a command or a function in this package that should allow us to do that. So what does log view file next do? Go to the next count file. Interactively count as a prefix numeric argument and defaults to 1. I wonder, probably doesn't work. Let's just do this really quick. Log view file next. No next file, of course not. But it's bound in this key map apparently, which is weird. Back. Okay. So log view. So let me check that actually. So what command does this ultimately go to? Whenever we look at so emacs.org, we're going to pull up the log, VC print log. And in this, F is care code 102. Okay. So here I'm going to use Control-HKF, and it tells us that log view find revision. Visit the version at POS. Oh yeah, so we found that already. So what we want to do then is, let's see, log view find revision, unable to determine the current file. But if we do it here, it's able to accomplish that. So it needs some context. I need to keep some notes somewhere on this because otherwise I'm going to get lost. So how about notes.org? So log view find revision can find a file for a specific revision. So we kind of need to be able to use that. But this function doesn't give us the ability to say what the file is. It says visit the version at POS. So we're probably going to have to dig into the code. Yeah, Garjola, I understood what you meant. Log view find revision can find a file for a specific revision, but we need to look at the code to figure out how to determine the file at point, I guess. Okay, so what else? Okay, so did I turn on org mode here? I'm not getting any. Okay, there we go. So, is there a way with the VC commands? Let me look for functions. VC dash deduce file set. Deduce a set of files in a backend to apply an operation. So if I run this, VC deduce file set. File is not under version control. Thank you. Do that one more time. Okay. So it only tells me about the current file, which isn't necessarily helpful. What if I go to the log view? So if I run that VC print root log, and at this line, I'll try to run the deduce file set. Huh. That's kind of interesting because it does give me that file. So what if I go to another file? How about if I go to desktop.org? If I go here and run that again, VC deduce file set, it still tells me emacs.org. So if I clear this and then run print root log again, and then I run deduce file set again. Okay, so that actually does work. So I think if we just bound F to a function that called VC deduce file set, it will tell us the file from which this was opened, which may not be the most clean fix, but it could be something that works initially. So F is bound still to log view find revision. So let me just pull back that log view find revision. And this function does not use that VC deduce file set. It uses log view VC file set. Visit the version at point. So I think that, I mean, for the purpose of this view, you would expect that it would go, based on the description here, it would visit the actual version at point. But here, let's try one more thing. I'm going to go to desktop.org. I'm going to run VC print log. And then I'm going to use the same key binding. So Control HK and then F, log view find revision. So it sounds like what we need to do is just change the code that pulls the file set. So if I look at that variable here, the log view VC file set, okay, so it has that file. So let's try something different here. We'll actually make a change and see if it makes anything different. We will log view perf. Oh, interesting. Let's check this out really quick. Logs are shown one file at a time. One file at a time. So let's set up a let here, target file, and we can use. Oh no, hold on a second. What was that function called? Deduce file set. So file set, and then use VC deduce file set, VC deduce file set. And we'll also need to use let star here, I think. And we're going to say target file, probably not the right name. And we're going to say catter because we're actually going to pull in the first item of the list at the that's returned by VC deduce file set because this returns a list that contains a list. So we need to first get the cooter of this list, which is this list, and then get the car of that list, which is the string that has the file path in it. So if we have that, then we can actually take all this, move it over, and then it wants it as a list. So maybe we don't need to do the catter part. We can just do cooter on file set. So if you don't know about catter and cooter and all that stuff, it's basically just a set of helper functions that help you navigate the inside of a list. And you can stack things up really crazy, like CADDDDR, things like that. But right now we're just pulling the end of the file set list. Okay, so linked log view VC file set. Instead of that, we're gonna pull, maybe I can, let's find out what it does whenever I'm on a file that actually is not a part of the repo. So, okay, so it says file is not under version control. Nah, Garjola says car is first, cdr is rest. Yes, that's right. Because Lisp lists are all basically linked lists where you have a value and then the next part of the pair is the rest of the list. So, file is not under version control. This actually throws an error if you try to open it on a file that is not part of the repo. So we might have to deal with that case, but first let's just get this working. So maybe, excuse me, maybe we can just stick with file set for now. Actually, we want to do the cdr of the file set, close that out, and then we'll just change this to file set. I don't know if I'm following best practices of Emacs coding, so we'll have to see if I ever get around to submitting this, depending on how big the changes are. Okay, so now I think we should be able to pull in VC deduce file set, and I can use Control-Alt-X to reevaluate this function. And now if I go back to emacs.org and then run VC print root log, and then jump down a little bit and press F. Wrong argument type string P. Okay, so we're getting there, but apparently I've got a bug in what I wrote. So length file set is greater than, null car file set. Ah, okay, yeah, right. That's fine. So this all passes, this is fine, I think. Wait, hold on. Let's say toggle debug on error so we can see the full stack trace. File or directory P. This is coming from let file set length. Okay, so car file set. In this case, files it should still be a list. Okay, so maybe I actually do need to do, oh, I do need to do cdr for sure. Okay, and the reason why is because if you take the cdr of a list, it returns a list containing the remaining items, which is a list. So we actually have a nested list here. So if I use cdr, then that should work. So now I'm going to jump back here. Let's get rid of this stack trace and then press F. And missing file, can I open load file? Interesting. Now we actually get the error that the user saw in the very first email, which is interesting. Benoit says no, there's no bugs in Emacs. Yeah. So here is the link to the bug right here. Okay, so cannot open load file. Require VC. Is that actually a real thing? I think it must. Oh. Find revision. Somehow it doesn't figure out that it's the Git backend. Okay, so switch to buffer, VC find revision. All right, so let's see. Read the revision of file into a buffer and return the buffer. I wonder if there's some other bug here that is giving trouble. And this apparently was introduced in Emacs 27, but this bug was reported for 26.1, which is interesting. VC find revision save file revision. We probably also want to say what the backend is because we're grabbing the backend from the deduce file set. So maybe what I want to do here is not pull that. So here we go. I really need some other editing binding setup here. So backend is car of file set. Let's see. And then we also want to have, let's just call it files. It's not the right name for this, but we'll just do that for now. Okay, so let's change this to files. Files. And then VC find revision, we actually want to use the back end. Use Control-X to evaluate that. And then I can use F here. Okay. Let's take a look here. I think that it didn't work somehow. I'll cheat a little bit. I'm going to say message backend. And then we'll try it one more time. Void variable backend, really? Oh, wait, hold on a second. All right, that's my mistake. I need to actually expand this let. Log view current file. Hold on a second. Maybe that's actually a better way to get this. Log view, if log view per file logs. All right, so I did this in the wrong spot, apparently. Log view VC file set. Because it has to pull this information in two places, it causes a bit of a problem for structuring this function. So unless this is true, per file logs. So this is basically just to throw an error. And I think that log view per file logs is true by default. So this would only become an issue if you had it turned off. So unless it's true, we need to try to find, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that's doing. But anyway, I think this is the actual place where it needs to change. So we need to basically have the same logic down here. So let me just put this down here. And then we'll clean it up in a minute. All right, so we have backend. If log view per file logs log view current file. What does that function even do? It's in logview.el. Let me pull that up. Log view current file. Forward line 1. Probably it's not meant to be used this way, the way that I'm trying to change it, but it is something that could fix the issue. So VC find file. Okay. All right, so let me jump back to where we were before. Okay. So what we'll do is replace this logic here. So what it's saying is, see, car log views is pulling only one file in either case, which is kind of weird. Log view VC file set. Come on. Let's check that variable one time here. Log view VC file set. Yeah, okay, that's just a list. Log view current tag. That's the current revision that you have your cursor on, I suppose. So if I put it here, log view current, say what? Oh, it's a function. Log view current tag. Okay, yep, that seems right. And then we're passing in the back end as well. Seems like this should be handled up here somewhere. Log view current file, log view VC file set. It's really weird. I wonder if this function can be used elsewhere, and these are like two different cases, because I don't see why you would need even to do it this way. But here, we're just going to delete that and try it this way. So files, and that wants one file, revision of file. Okay, so car files. Let's just see if it works. Make sure that I've got everything closed up nicely here. Okay, that's fine. Control-X, jump in here, and then press F. Void variable backend still, huh? Let's try it. Oh, that's because I'm doing the wrong thing. How about that? Control X, F. Okay, that worked. So we made the desired behavior work, but the question is that actually the desired fix? So based on the description of this function, if called interactively, visit the version at point. But it doesn't say the version of what. Is it the commit? Is it the file? Log view find revision. So log view per file logs. T if logs are shown one file at a time. Let me think about that. So if it's set to false, what's it supposed to do? Let me take a look at what the code is supposed to be. So VC diff, I haven't used this before, so let's try it out. It's a pretty nice looking diff view. Okay, so the changes we made. So what it said before is if log view per file logs, which is the thing that we checked up here, which is true by default, then it calls log view current file. Otherwise, it says log view VC file set. So let's see what the description of log view VC file set says. VC file set corresponding to the current log. It just feels like there's two different use cases that are baked in here. Because we're looking at a log view, and it seems like no matter what, you're trying to find the revision for the current listing or that you're looking at, or at least the current file set. VC file set corresponding to the current log. Log view VC file set. It's okay. All right. So it's for the Emacs from scratch. Okay. All right. So that is always set to the repository because it is for the root. But it feels like something is incorrect. So log view current file. So that does seem right. So if you have log view per file logs set to nil, then it should look for the log view for the entire repo whenever you run this command. But if you have it set to true, log view per file log set to true, then it gives you the log for the current file whenever you call up this compact view. So the point is that oh, that's a good point, actually. You know, maybe I should try to find a commit that touches multiple files. Thanks, Andrew. You're probably right about that. So how about I find a... Close, please. There we go. Let's find a commit that might have multiple files. Show notes and link. Okay, I think that one's probably one that touches multiple files. If I press enter... Press F. Huh. Interesting. Okay. So what about VC diff? Does it give me the... Yeah. Okay, cool. So can I collapse these? No. So there's... Okay, so it's only... That can't be right. I want VC diff for this commit. VC diff. It's giving me the wrong diff, which is interesting. Let's find out about the... Do I have which key set up here? Ah, okay. Let me try somewhere else, because I'm kind of curious about how this is... So Control X V L. Great. That's exactly where I wanted it to show up. For this one, I'm going to press well, actually, I need to check the, let's see, desk binds. Is there not one for consult? Maybe that's the one. Taking its sweet time. All right, let's describe mode. Okay, both of them are taking forever. That's really nice. Waiting, waiting, waiting. There we go. All right, so let's check. Is there anything for diff? Return, which did not seem to work. Diff change set. So capital D. How about that? Okay, great. So let's go back to where we were then. Into the Emacs session. And what I want to do is run the VC deduce file set on this line. Yeah, it still only says emacs.org. It's interesting how that works. Hey, Eric. Let's see. Well, let's stick with that for now. Go back to log view. And the change we did worked, but the question is, do we need to improve it further? So VC diff. I need to go back and change the code that I had set before. So car files. So I'm going to put this if back. So if log view per file logs, then the true path will be to use car files, and the false path will be car log view VC file set. And then the rest is this log view current tag and then backend. So Control Alt X. Oh, and backend, I probably shouldn't set backend as an assumption for log view current tag, but I guess, you know, you're not going to be switching to different source control backend for those two functions. They have to be the same one. So, all right, so let's try this one more time. Evil bindings are not set up right here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the show notes and press F. Okay. What? That's not the right file. That's weird. Which file is it picking up? Hi, Martin. Okay, now I gotta figure out what file it thinks it's looking at. So, VC deduce file set. It's picking up emacs.org. Very strange. What file has it got? Message, file, car files. Control Alt X, or press F here. Well, this is not the content of emacs.org, so that seems really wrong. VC find revision, and the file name that we picked, and log view current tag. So I wonder if emacs.org was not changed in that revision. It just gives me some random change. So how about if I run it? Let's see. I think this one probably has emacs.org change. So how about if I do it here? No. Okay, let's go back to the first commit. No. That's really weird. So if I press it again, let's look at the messages. K is undefined. What does that mean? Marker. Oh, okay. I'm typing a bunch of stuff that it doesn't like. That's really strange. Okay. Well, it seems that this fix is not perfect, obviously. Let's think about this then from what was already there. So there was a function. Yeah, sure. That was being used before called. Can I scroll, please? Log view current file. How is that implemented? So it looks like it's scraping the current buffer to figure out what the current file is. Forward line 1. Log view dir regex. Is that the right one that it uses? Let's see. Log view dir re. Yes. for CVS or what's that, Perforce? That's insane. Well, that's definitely not going to work. Let's see. I'm curious of where this actually does work. Log view current file. Log view current file. Log view minor wrap. Extract comment. I think that must need actual full let's try it right here. So was it log view? No. Current file. Yeah, unable to determine the current file. No kidding. So if I go to emacs.org, I open up vc log, print log, and then on this line I call log view current file. It can't even figure it out there either. So I don't even know how this function was supposed to work. All right, log view. Yeah, we may have to try a different bug because this one is not so easy to find the right solution for. I think it would have to require discussion with people on the mailing list to find the right way to fix it. The thing that Lars suggested was to show a list of files for the current revision and then pick one. So maybe there's a function for that. How about if I look for BC revision. Andrew says, I don't think F can be used here. Instead, use D, select the diff you want to visit, and then you get the file at that revision. Yeah. Revision of file into a buffer. Locate the file from the commit hash and pass it to the function. Locate the file from the commit hash. Maybe. So fetch revision history of file. Basically, I just want to get a file set. File set. Deduce file set. Yeah, sure. Set of files in a backend to which to apply an operation. I don't think that this allows me to do it for a particular revision that I'm looking at, though. Okay, let's just look at this one more time at the end. Visit the version except in the context of a specific file or set of files, and it's not about a file, it's about the whole tree without a specific file. Log view find revision cannot show anything sensible. Looks command never worked. Yes, I mean, yeah, it doesn't work for sure. Bind F in these two kinds of listings to show a different command to a different command, which would ask the user which file to show at that revision. So yeah, first of all, we need to get the list of files for the revision. And like I said, I think it seems like they would have to be able to pull that information somehow. Revision history, no. VC file set corresponding to the current log. Log view VC file set. VC file set corresponding to the current log. Log view VC file set is a variable. Oh, I'm looking at variables. I need to look at functions. VC file. About revision. I think I looked at this just a second ago. Read revision of file into a buffer and return the buffer. Use backend of the as the VC backend if specified. Okay. Cool. So let's see. All right. So what was it that people were suggesting for a command to do this? I really don't want to write a backend command for this because it's going to be a whole pain in the ass. F would work if there was one file in the commit, but it would have to fail on multiple files. Better to display a list with one file entry on single file commits. Yeah. So someone said diff stat. Was that right? Display a diff stat and allow commands to select files from that list. That's not something that's built in though. All right, so trying to think of the right way to do this. Let's go back to log view, vc git. Oops, turned on caps lock. Show log entry. All right, so there's a lot of stuff in this file. Wow, interesting. Okay, so how about we just do that? So git list files in commit. How to list all the files in a git commit. Git diff tree. Okay. No commit ID name only. I mean, that would be one way to do it with git, but let's see. Does anybody call that diff tree? Okay. VC git diff command. Get a different support. Okay. Using git between 2 revisions of files. So rev2 is optional. I wonder if, what the hell? Oh, is that like a special hash for the empty tree? Can you extract the hash from the line in the VC list buffer and then find that file name plus hash to display it? Maybe. All right, so VC git diff. How about, well, okay, that's not an interactive function, so, but it does want a file list, which is something that we're not prepared to give it. No, we do have a file list because we have the file that we're interested in. Oh, actually the revision we're interested in. So what about files here? Is that... Okay. VC diff. Okay. Displays diffs between file revisions. Normally this compares the current selected file set with their working revisions. Yeah. So this is not going to be super easy to fix. What we might do is take a look at the other issue that we saw that might be a little bit easier, hopefully. Maybe it won't be. But if we don't find anything useful there, we will just jump right back to what we were doing before. Let's see. Okay, so the other one was this package install package failed to verify signature file. Setting current directory. We'll take a look at this and see if it looks more fixable. And this time I'm going to look at the entire listing in case there's some tips that might shortcut the process a little bit. Try to open a URL and forgot how. What? Find file. Oh, that's weird. I think it's setting the current directory to whatever this messed up file path is. Okay. Is there a standard thing we can use in these circumstances where it doesn't matter what default directory is other than it has to exist? Yeah, this may not be super easy to fix either because there's some considerations to make about where the files go. This case here is you try to open something in a buffer and then try to start a process from that buffer, it'll fail because default directory doesn't point to something that exists. URL temporary directory. But that's that doesn't exist. Interesting. So it sounds like this one is a common problem in Emacs for anything that somehow depends on the default directory variable, even if it doesn't use the default directory. And if you get yourself in a position where you've opened a file in a directory that doesn't exist, or default directory gets set to something that doesn't exist, then running package, what was it? Package list packages could be a problem. Let me check if I can run that here. Okay, so that works. But let's say I set, let's see, go to Scratch, and I'll set Q default directory to no exist. And then try to run package list packages. Okay, that doesn't give me any trouble. But if we try to do this, let's get this file path here. Copy link address. Then what? Step 2. Okay, this issue does not seem to be reproducing for me, but maybe I should just start Emacs with Emacs Q and try it that way. Because who knows, maybe it's a specific issue with my setup. Package list packages. Okay, no such file directory. So somehow my config was, whew, man, that's so bright. Okay. Something with my config was making this work. I wonder if it was the completion system somehow was buffering that problem to where it doesn't actually show up in the configuration I was using, because I'm using Vertigo in the config that we saw before. Let's see. Trying to decide if it's worth it. So the question is, what does that function do? Let's get out of here. Let's just reopen Emacs normally so we can see the font. I wonder why it ends up hitting that. I think there's a stack trace here. Packages, package import keyring. It's interesting that, oh, maybe I have it turned off. That could be why. If archive refreshing is turned off, maybe that doesn't cause this behavior. So I want to look at the code for package refresh contents. Whoops. And package.el, and then which directory is it pulling? Package user dir. Yeah, I don't see how that would be affected. Oh, hold on. Is it because... Oh, it's because it runs a process. That's why. Okay. So because it tries to launch a process, I think maybe the default directory variable is being used there, and it's trying to set the context for the process. it would be nice if this wasn't truncated. Hmm. Yeah, so what's the code that actually launches that then? It is make process. So this is like low level stuff. If we get into that whole area, if make process sees that, let's see, is make process written in C? Maybe Lars even said that. Yeah, it's written in C. Yeah, we don't want to mess with that. Can you just set the default dir to the Emacs user dir in the refresh function? You could, but it's kind of like a fundamental problem in how Emacs works, I think, and that's should be fixed right, probably. Just out of curiosity. Current buffer directory, file name handler. Make sure that the child will be able to change dir to the current buffer's current directory or its unhandled equivalent. We can't just have the child check for an error when it does the cookie because it's in a vfork. All right, interesting. I don't know if we can jump to the definition of that. Oh, we're in the C code now. The problem with going in and trying to fix the C code is just because we would have to recompile it, and it'll be harder to test changes, especially if I have to deal with, like, you know, me causing seg faults. I don't know where current directory is defined. Maybe it's in lisp.h. Oh, or one of these. Buffer, probably. Nope. Let's do this. Can I do that? Come on. Ah. Emacs user directory always exists if you use packages. The problem here is it's the default directory variable that it's actually picking up, not the user directory. And I don't know, well, I do know why. It's because when you run a process, you want to run it in the directory of the current buffer so that it operates on whatever files are there. Okay. So what I want to do is, where was that file? This is in, let's just look at default directory. Okay, so it's in the source folder. I'm going to try to use ripgrep here to find get current directory. Okay, so it's in process.h. Or process.c, technically. Don't do anything right now. Whoops, did I pick the wrong one? Ah. Yeah, okay. Where is the definition? That has to be it, right? Process.h, it must be in process.c. Ah. Come on. The definition, or, oh, it's an extern. Okay, where's it coming from? Anyway, all right. Wild goose chase. It could be from something else. vterm directory sync. Okay. So Lisp object. This is the first time I really looked at the C code for Emacs. This is kind of cool. Trying to figure out the way to find. Is this actually a C library function? Let's see. What did that look at here? It could be a unistandard. No, it can't be because it returns a Lisp object. Oh, it's right here in front of my face. Call proc.c. Yo, all right. Return the current buffer's working directory or the home directory if it's unreachable. Well, it seems like it's not doing that. But maybe it's because it gets a value and that value ends up being wrong. File accessible directory P, report file error setting current directory, which seems to be what was in the stack trace, which we can see here. File error setting current directory. No such file or directory. So NILP. That's really weird. I think the logic in here is wrong somehow, but I don't know that we're going to be able to fix that in 25 minutes. Let's see, NILP, where is that defined? It's like a macro or something. Whoa. Yeah, I get delay on I get delay on messages that are coming through, so if there's like spam happening, I can't really see whenever it's happening on YouTube. Sorry about that. Okay. Current buffer directory. This seems to be checking if the where is it defined? I'll bet money that's a macro. Okay. Oh, nil p. Okay, if the value is nil, that's what it is. Okay. Get current directory. So if the directory is nil, then set it to the home directory, and then expand it. So so this is where it decides where the directory is accessible or not. File accessible directory P. Is that defined in this function, in this file somewhere? Probably not. Okay. Yeah. At any rate, I think this one's going to be really difficult to fix in the time left because we would have to do some tweaking of C code and adding some special cases there. But it does seem that this is a place where you might try to fix this issue. If you like writing C code and you want to give this a shot, I think that we've probably figured out the area where this problem is coming from, and you might be able to write something to mitigate this problem. So I definitely encourage anyone who would like to try to fix that to do it, because it might be pretty useful for other people. So let's see. I had received some suggestions, some other suggestions from Lars on a few of these issues. Garjola says, I don't likely think there's a bug in the C function getting the directory for a buffer. Well, if it's coming from in there somewhere. Setting the current directory. I think that, and that was actually where we saw the error message. So get current directory is saying setting current directory. I don't know why it's saying setting, because we're getting it. It could be an error in the, sorry, a bug in the documentation string, or the error string. Setting current directory. Let's see if that shows up anywhere else in the code. No, that's the only location that I can see in the Emacs source that has that specific error message, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense in my opinion. So what does the doc string say one more time? Is it because they try to set the current directory to see if it's accessible? Is that why it's happening? Return the current buffer's working directory or the home directory if unreachable. Logic of setting the current directory in the Lisp function to home would follow the same rationale. Yeah, possibly so. All right. So yeah, let's go back to what Lars was saying in his response to me this morning. So let's see. This change since it was reported. Now it says multiple files. Okay, yeah, F command here could be extended to do what Eli suggests, prompt for file name, show the revision. Yeah, that's probably the right way to do that for the one we looked at already. Setting, yeah, this is the one we just looked at also. Looks pretty straightforward. Not so sure, but maybe I should look at it again, just in case. There's another one, equal including properties uses EQ to compare property values. Well, we can take a look really fast. That is bug 6581. That is pretty old. Let me, I'm just gonna edit the URL to get there. 6581. Okay, so it says equal including properties. These strings both have property with key K, but values with two different strings V and... Oh. Equal including properties. People are not very happy about this bug. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing this should be using equal and not EQ to do that, because obviously it wouldn't be called equal otherwise. Yeah, equal is recursively defined in terms of itself. So equal including properties. Let's just check and see if we can find in the source where that lives. Let's see. Equal including properties. Okay, so it's a C function. Internal equal. Well, that's interesting. And that's defined here. It's a tail recursive function. Or I assume that's what this means. And does it call itself recursively? Oh, I guess it must. Yeah, I don't know how they actually implement tail recursion in Emacs Lisp in the C layer. Lisp string. With a go-to? Yeah, that's what it looks like. Right here. Okay. Depth greater than 10. Okay, so I'm guessing this is the value type or the object type of the first value being compared. And so for each tail, that's like a macro, it seems. Yeah, I know. So let's see. Vector like. Well, I'm guessing the part that we would be interested in is the string path here, because the problem is that it's comparing the string. Is it the string values or is that the actual keys? A0, 1. These two strings both have a property with key K. The values are two different strings V and two different strings V. Oh, okay, we're comparing these two, and it should return true, because they should be equal. Is that a property, though? It doesn't make sense. This is not... Oops. Get out. All right. Was it like plist get? I don't know if the key goes first. Just kind of curious if this actually works. No. Plist goes first. Okay. Does it work that it's a vector? Or is it that the... Oh, okay. Maybe it's just that this is the plist. The inner plist. Then, okay, yeah. Whoops. Yeah, okay. So it's just comparing it as a list anyway. So what we have is... Oops. Lisp. Probably cons, yeah. Who knows, man? All right, probably not a good one either. Okay, so we're gonna spend the rest of the time trying to go back to that first issue, I think, and see if we can have any final resolution on that. So when I wrote the title to this stream, I said, can we fix a bug in Emacs? And it turns out that 2 hours is not long enough. You need a little bit more time probably to understand the code and investigate these things. All right, so let me check. So where we left off was we wanted to get the list of files for a particular revision that's been selected so that we can show a file selector effectively, or a completion list to select a file. The problem is that to make this be a real fix in the VC library, it needs to work for all backends. So we can't just add something for Git. It would have to be something for all backends if there is not already a function for listing the files that are associated with a particular revision. So the problem we have right now is to find that that function if it exists. I'm trying to figure out where the VC, was it version control? Was it source control? Maybe info search VC. Come on. Apropos VC. Everything manual in here? No. Oh, info apropos. Okay, that's right. The V are literals, so they are different Lisp objects. Okay. Yeah, definitely. That's why we need to use equal for those, but we don't. What is happening? Okay, anyway. Actually, that's what I should do. VC diff. How about this? We'll go VC diff, and then there should be a link to, well, let's cheat. We'll use helpful. VC diff, and then there should be a link to the manual in here. View in manual. I'll pull the manual. Yep, there we go. Jump back to the Firefox tab. Okay. Up, version control. Comparing old revisions. Compare the entire working tree to the revision you started from. Yep. Prompt for a revision of the current file and visit it in a separate buffer. Now that's interesting. Let's see. That's Control X V tilde. If I go back to, let's see, I think I closed it since then. So let's go back to Emacs from scratch. Oh, What did I do wrong there? Yeah, did not succeed in 2 hours. That's definitely what's happening here. We'll see, we'll see. I cleared that out. Maybe I need to get it from here. All right, so let's open up Emacs from scratch. Every stream can't be a winner, unfortunately. All right, so I'm going to use Control X V tilde. So now it gives me a list of revisions, and those are only branch names, it seems. Okay. Doesn't give me, I mean, I guess I could probably type in a commit hash if I wanted to, but I don't really want to. So let's see. What else? Display an annotated version of the current file. For each line, show the latest revision. Okay, that's like blame, basically. Displays a diff. So the revision ID for some version control systems let you specify revisions in other formats. Yeah, what we're looking for is a way to get the list of files included in a particular revision. Something that's generic, basically, for the VC APIs. Because we don't want to do this just for Get. We want to do it for all of the backends that are supported. There's probably an obvious way to do this that people who've worked in the Emacs code base for a while know, and I don't know. How about miscellaneous? Nope. Viewing the change log. Display the change history for the current file set. Yeah, that's the functions we were using before. What are all the supported backends? I don't know. I think there's like CVS, Subversion, Bazaar, Git, probably others. Display the changes that we sent by the next push. So VC diff itself is probably just pulling the. Well, let's check that out. Hold on. VC git diff. Does it support like Mercurial also? Whoops, I'm in the wrong. VC git diff. Just out of curiosity, let's pull this up and see if there's anything in the code that looks useful. Diff tool. Okay, so we are basically just pulling the raw output and colorizing it, it seems, from these two. We're probably not parsing the output to get the list of files. Okay. Describe variable VC handled backends. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. VC handled backends. Yeah, RCS, CVS, SVN, SCCS, SRC. I'm not sure what that is. Bazaar, Git, Mercurial, and whatever MTN is. I don't know what that is. All right. Maybe there's some hints here. Source a single file revision. Interesting. There must be a function or a command for this. There's got to be. Okay, so VC branch. Do Magit log on that repo, press return on one of the entries. It shows the list of files for the commit at the top. Maybe that listing shows what function is being called. Yeah, they also have a, let's see. Look at that, it's like spewing files into this folder. That's really nice. Press return on one of the entries. Let's go recent commits. I'll press enter on this one. And then now, let's see, Magit, no. There's a, oh, $sign. Really? You're not gonna give me the process output? Whoops. All right, let's pull that one more time. Garjola, I also forgot what I'm looking for. No, I'm looking for a function to get the list of files that are part of a given revision. Something that's generic in the VC library so that I don't have to try to add something specific for Git itself. So HK, enter, Magit show commit. Pull that up. Jump back to Firefox. It's not that many. Maybe you could find the equivalent to git ls files for all of them. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna call that. Interesting. Well, is that only for things that are in the repo? I mean, I guess that's another way to do it if you just get the repo files, but it's not nice to have to depend on the project package for that. But let's just see what they do, I guess. Project VC list files. Come on now. Helpful. There we go. Let's pull that over here and then jump back to the chat. Expand file name, args-z. Oh, this is using like find or something, right? What's, oh, the back end. All right, so it's doing it specifically for, yeah, it's built in, but I mean, I think it's probably not good to do too much, you know, cross-referencing between those two things. They should stay a little bit more agnostic to each other. So for Mercurial or Git, they have custom logic for looking at the list of files, and it's not calling into the VC library, or maybe it's calling in to run Git, but it's not actually using VC itself. So yeah, probably not the right place to look. VC find file hook. Git find revision, find file hook, find revision, save. Weird. You would think it would give you a command to find the files for a repository also in VC itself, but apparently it doesn't. All right, I give up. I think that anything is going to require doing more research. I mean, there's probably simple bugs in Emacs that haven't been reported yet, or at least not marked as easy, but at least in what we've looked at today, none of them are easy enough for me to fix right now because I obviously don't have a lot of familiarity with the Emacs code base, and especially specific larger packages like the VC package. Magit has the advantage of knowing Git is underneath. Yes, it definitely has that advantage. So if you have a more abstract backend model where you have to support multiple source control providers, then it gets a lot more complicated to add functionality like this because you have to do it for all of them. And maybe there's not a good way to do that for all of them. So yeah, I think that that's more tricky, but maybe Lars has a suggestion and we could try it again on another stream, but we'll see whether we do that or not. All right, 5 minutes left. Anybody got any questions or anything cool that you want to bring up before we end the stream today. Let's see. Yeah, so like I was saying before, I'm definitely going to get the third Orgrown video out next week. I know exactly what I'm going to cover now and how I want to cover it, so it's just a matter of me getting through that whole thinking process between last week and this week. I'm still trying to figure out how to improve the quality of the videos that I'm making, and I think one of the things that needs to be improved is how soon I get into actually showing what you've come to the video to see. Instead of me talking for about 3-4 minutes about sort of setting the context for what we're going to do, like just getting right into showing you the stuff and then giving the context as we go. So it takes a little bit of effort for me to try to reroute my brain to do this a different way, but I think it's going to be worthwhile because it will be more useful to people to see things. You know, like you get what you're promised in the video pretty soon. You don't just like start watching the video and 10 minutes later I still haven't shown you any code yet. So yeah, I'm basically want to take what I learned from making that one Emacs short and then apply it to the normal videos as well. Maybe do a little bit more editing and whatnot to tighten things up a bit, because you know, there's something to be said for showing like end to end, just no cuts or anything, what I'm doing. But I think there's a lot of wasted time that probably could be cut out a little bit. Let's see. Garjola says, maybe if we can't fix bugs, we can learn to report them. Yeah, well, definitely there is a part in the Emacs manual. Let's see, Emacs reporting bugs. I'm pretty sure there's a place there for that. Yeah, there's a whole section on that, and I'll drop that into the show notes because that's pretty useful. That's a great suggestion, actually. That's in a different Discord. Let's see. All right. Just drop that there. And Johnny asked, will you do another video about Magic? Yes, I'm definitely going to do another video. I haven't gotten back to that yet because, you know, there's a lot of interest in Orgrown right now. So I'm kind of like, you know, trying to get through some of those videos before I get back to Magic, but I definitely want to. I have a few more videos in mind, like doing rebasing and any of the other specific functionality of Magic that we haven't covered yet. There's also the report Emacs bug command that you can use, bug subject. So that's something that should be automated, it seems like. Mark says, it was great seeing the process. I will definitely have to rewatch this again. Yeah, hopefully some of that was easy to follow. I was kind of trying to jump through it faster to figure this stuff out so we don't sit here scratching our heads staring at the screen the whole time. But hopefully some of it was followable. It was easy to, somewhat possible to follow what I was doing. But I don't know. I think that it's definitely achievable to get into the Emacs code base and to fix things. It will require a little bit more time to familiarize oneself with what's in there. And also, you know, anything you do is probably going to require discussion with the maintainers and the other people on the discussion lists, like the Emacs Devel list, mainly because you can't know everything. You can't know all the ways things can go wrong until people have given you feedback and your change that you're trying to submit has gone through a few revisions. And if you read Fosker's post that I linked earlier in the show notes, that's basically what he said, is that he sent a patch, but then they, you know, went through a few revisions where they were telling him different functions to use, things he didn't know about, which is definitely going to be the case if you're writing code to go into Emacs, because there's plenty of functions that we as everyday Emacs users don't really know about, or patterns that we don't know about, because we're not writing actual Emacs code for the editor or the program itself. We're writing code for our own configurations, which is a completely different ball game. So anything that you do to contribute to Emacs, you're definitely gonna have to learn more than what you would probably expect. But it's worthwhile though, because if you can actually make improvements to the editor itself or to the program itself, it is very worthwhile to everyone else, not just your own use cases. Thomas says it would be nice to see something about do's and don'ts about using Emacs in WSL2. I have some challenges getting the keyboard to be able to repeat keys as fast as on the host. Yeah, performance is an interesting issue on Windows with Emacs. It sounds like this is WSL2. I wonder if there's some settings that need to be tweaked in the X server, or even the whatever program you're using to surface Emacs as a graphical app to Windows. There's got to be something that you could tweak there, but I don't know. I don't really use that through WSL2 that much. I've tried it a couple times, had mixed results. So I'm mainly using Emacs natively as a Windows binary, which has its own problems, and it's extremely slow when you try to use Magit. Not because of Magit, but because of launching the Git process and all that stuff with the things that were compiled for Windows. Garjola says, in Windows, you must use VS Code. I don't. The X server settings seem not to be responded to. Might be worth reporting that issue to the author of whichever X server you're using, because it might be a known issue, or it could be something that they could fix. Let's see, what else? Oh, for the shop, the System Crafter shop store, whatever I end up calling it, I was going to get it done for this week, but I didn't get a chance because this week ended up being really busy. So my goal is that next Friday on the stream, I will be announcing the System Crafter store, where you can buy the t-shirts and coffee mug and hoodie and possibly hat that I've been talking about. If you're interested in physical things to support the channel, that's something that you could do if you are interested, and I'll be talking about that on Friday. I got the prints of those things in last weekend, like the t-shirt. They look really good, so I'm happy with how that turned out. I think they're going to be pretty nice. So hopefully people will be happy with those if they if you end up getting one. For now, it's just the System Crafter's logo. I haven't thought of anything else yet, but I've got some ideas that I want to do later, but I want to try a little trial run of seeing how this whole end-to-end thing works before I do anything more significant. Echo says, where does it ship to? Is it international? For the things that I don't know what 0.03 is for, Andrew. For the things that I have chosen on the store with the printer that I'm using, I'm trying to choose the items that ship the most widely, so they should be available on all continents, I think. And there's printing locations that are actually regional, so you don't have to like buy something from the US and pay shipping from the US. In most cases, you'd be able to find a place that's nearer to where you are that the shipping would be more reasonable. WSL2 is better than dual boot setup, so that's why I'm currently focusing on getting that environment productive. Yeah, well, I mean, it's nice whenever it works. Definitely, I can see why it would be ideal, but for me, I still prefer to use just plain Linux. Andrew said that was a cat pressing the keys on the lower right of the keyboard. Well, that's fine. All cats are welcome. Thomas says, hopefully shipping is affordable. I believe it should be, but I would love to hear feedback whenever people try it and see if they have trouble with the shipping and whatnot, because I'm not sure. I haven't tried to order one from Europe and ship it to Europe yet. Anything else? Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to bring up. Yeah, just sort of another thing that sort of delayed me this week is that I started looking into using Blender for video editing, because I've been using Kdenlive here and there whenever I actually needed to edit something, but I want to add a little bit more motion graphics and stuff to the videos, maybe for pointing things out, or even just for, like, you know, putting things on the bottom of the screen for informational purposes. And I was going down the rabbit hole of looking at videos about how to use Blender for video editing this week, and it's highly capable for a lot of different things, but it requires learning the Blender interface. And if you've never used Blender before, it's kind of like the Emacs of video production or even 3D animation tools, because the interface is completely customizable, and also you can use Python to automate everything. So it's very, very interesting. If you've ever tried to do any kind of 3D animation or video editing or even drawing, check it out because it's a cool tool, but it is a little bit impenetrable at first. It's a little bit hard to use, but it's been fun. GK Pseudo says, I'm looking forward to a System Crafters logo on a shirt. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I like it. Great if they have printing in EU. If you order stuff for more than $10 this, you get fined with a $20 customs handling fee. Okay. Definitely let me know if you see that problem whenever the shop comes up. I think that it shouldn't be a problem because I think that there are places in Europe that they're producing these shirts and other items. So I'm trying to avoid picking things that would not be available in various parts of the world, or not locally available, I'd say. Garzola says, let's fix a bug in Blender for next week. No, thanks. I don't think I'll do this again. Next time I try to do this, I'm going to actually be prepared and make sure that I can fix something before we do this so that it's not a letdown. Eric says, or let collect and share the cost. Well, you shouldn't have to do that. Hopefully you won't have to do that. All right, I think we're a little bit over time, but that's fine because it was nice to chat a little bit after I was staring and scratching my head the whole time trying to figure this stuff out. So, yeah. If I prepare, it's not fun. Well, maybe it's fun for you, but it's not fun for me looking like an idiot trying to do this the whole time. All right, so before we go, I just want to say thank you to my sponsors. And you know what? I don't know. I feel bad showing the screen because once again, I have not updated the screen, and I'm rethinking how I want to do this. So I'll show it anyway, just because there's people here that need to be thanked. But anyway, these people have decided to support the work that I'm doing, making content about GNU Emacs, GNU Geeks, etc. And I'm very thankful to them for their support. If you are interested in supporting the work that I do, definitely check out the link that I have below in the description. It takes you to a page at systemcrafters.net that tells you the different options. I'm on GitHub sponsors, Patreon, LibrePay. There's also a link to PayPal. And then soon there will be the System Crafters shop where you can get cool stuff like, you know, shirts, hat, coffee cup. Need to do stickers too, but I haven't gotten that set up yet. And as always, if you would prefer another way to support the channel, just definitely click like on this video and any other videos that we post. And if you see some videos that I post that you're not really that interested in watching, if you just want to click it and just let it play all the way through, that can help too, because all this sort of engagement actually helps YouTube prioritize showing my video to other people in the recommendation algorithm. I hate having to say that, but it actually does help the channel a lot whenever the video gets seen by more people, because there's a chance that people will join and also join us on these live streams, which is great because, you know, as we see, there's a lot of great people here who are talking and interacting, which I very much appreciate every week. So yeah, that's it. Like I said, there's going to be the next video for Orgrome coming up this week. If I have time, I'll do a short too. I really want to do another one of those because it was a lot of fun. And then after that, I probably should get back to Magit because we need to start covering that topic again. So, all right. So thanks everybody for being here today. All of you in the chat, I really appreciate you all being here and contributing today, especially the ones that were trying to help me figure this stuff out. And until next time, have a nice weekend and happy hacking. We'll see you.